Welcome to Astronomy Daily, your source for the latest space and astronomy news. I'm your host, Anna, and we have quite a packed show for you today. We'll be diving into some truly remarkable developments, from eye-opening testimony at Congressional UFO hearings to the discovery of hundreds of new galaxies in a region of space astronomers typically avoid. We'll also discuss growing concerns about an air leak aboard the International Space Station and the latest preparations for SpaceX's next Starship launch. Let's get started with today's cosmic headlines. UFOs took center stage in Washington once again as the House Committee on Oversight and Accountability held a hearing titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena, Exposing the Truth. What made this hearing particularly noteworthy wasn't just the claims being made, but the credentials of those making them. Several high-ranking officials, including a former U.S. counterintelligence officer, a retired Navy rear admiral, and a former NASA associate administrator, presented compelling testimony suggesting that we may not be alone in the cosmos. Luis-elizondo, the former counterintelligence officer, made the bold assertion that excessive government secrecy has been hiding this reality from the public for decades. The witnesses described encounters with various unexplained phenomena, from flying orbs emerging from oceans to disc-shaped objects displaying flight capabilities far beyond our current technology. Retired Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet stated directly that these sightings represent evidence of what he called a non-human higher intelligence. Perhaps most striking were the claims about secret government programs. Elizondo testified that the U.S. government has programs dedicated to retrieving crashed UAP and reverse engineering them. Meanwhile, journalist Michael Schellenberger revealed information about a classified program called Immaculate Constellation, allegedly designed to collect and quarantine UFO reports from military personnel. The witnesses unanimously stressed the need for greater transparency and reduced stigma around the UFO topic. Former NASA Associate Administrator Michael Gold suggested that NASA's vast archive of data could contain valuable evidence about UAP and proposed using artificial intelligence to analyze this information. While the hearing was heavy on testimony and light on concrete evidence, the witnesses explained that much of the most compelling data remains classified to protect sensitive military capabilities. Nevertheless, they argued that this level of secrecy is excessive and potentially harmful to national security. The hearing concluded with a sobering discussion about what exactly constitutes non-human intelligence, with witnesses suggesting everything from extraterrestrial life to advanced artificial intelligence as possible explanations for these mysterious encounters. What's clear is that these high-ranking officials believe there's much more to the UFO phenomenon than the public currently knows. Let's move on to something a little less speculative. SpaceX is making final preparations for another milestone test of their mammoth Starship vehicle, with the sixth test flight now scheduled for November 18th. The company has already moved the massive upper stage of the rocket to the launch pad at their Starbase facility in South Texas, where it's currently undergoing pre-flight testing. This particular Starship vehicle is catching attention not just for its impressive engineering, but for its whimsical touch. The stainless steel spacecraft is adorned with unique artwork showing a pixelated, smiling cartoon banana holding a realistic banana. This playful detail is actually a clever reference to the aerospace industry's inside joke of using bananas for scale in technical photographs. Standing at 165 feet tall, the upper stage is just one component of what remains the most powerful rocket ever built. When combined with its super heavy booster, the complete stack reaches nearly 400 feet in height. Both stages are designed for full reusability, a revolutionary approach that SpaceX believes will transform space travel. The upcoming flight will attempt to build on the success of October's test, where SpaceX achieved a significant milestone by successfully landing the Super Heavy booster back on the launch pad using the launch tower's catch arms, nicknamed the chopsticks. The team will attempt to repeat this impressive feat while the upper stage continues its journey, ultimately aiming for a splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Some not-so-good news from NASA today. In a significant blow to space exploration efforts, NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory has announced its second round of layoffs for 2024, with 325 employees, approximately 5% of the workforce, being let go. This follows February's cuts when 530 employees were dismissed, highlighting the ongoing budget challenges facing one of America's premier space research facilities. The latest reduction in force comes at a particularly challenging time for JPL, as uncertainty surrounds the Mars sample return mission, and no flagship missions are currently in development following the launch of Europa Clipper in October. JPL Director Luis-elizondo emphasized in a memo to staff that these cuts were purely budget-related and not reflective of individual performance. The impact spreads across nearly all areas of the laboratory, affecting technical, project, business, and support divisions. While the cuts were described as painful but necessary, Leshin expressed hope that this would be the final workforce reduction needed for the foreseeable future, with staffing levels now considered stable and sustainable at around 5,500 employees. Despite these challenges, JPL maintains its commitment to space exploration, building on its impressive legacy that includes missions to every planet in our solar system and the iconic Voyager missions that have now reached interstellar space. The laboratory's leadership remains optimistic about its future, emphasizing that while these adjustments are difficult, they're essential to ensure JPL can continue its crucial work for NASA and the nation. Some other NASA news today. In concerning developments aboard the International Space Station, NASA and Roscosmos find themselves at odds over a persistent air leak in the Russian segment of the orbital outpost. The leak, located in a vestibule of the Zvezda service module known as PRK, has been present for several years, but has recently become a more pressing concern. The situation has created a notable divide between the space agencies. Russian engineers attribute the issue to high cyclic fatigue from microvibrations, while NASA believes multiple factors are at play, including pressure and mechanical stress, material properties, and environmental exposure. More worryingly, there's disagreement about the potential consequences, with NASA expressing concerns about possible catastrophic failure, while Russian teams maintain operations remain safe. The leak has forced crews to implement special procedures, including sealing off the affected area when it's not needed for Progress cargo spacecraft operations. Crew 8 astronaut Michael Barrett recently revealed that they've taken the precautionary measure of closing the hatch between the U.S. and Russian segments during certain periods, describing it as an uncomfortable but necessary compromise. The leak rate reached its highest levels earlier this year, losing about 1.7 kilograms of air per day. While recent repair work has reduced this rate by a third, the underlying structural concerns remain unresolved. Both agencies are now bringing in outside experts from academia and industry to help reach a common understanding of the situation, though no timeline has been set for resolving these differences. As the station continues to age, these kinds of maintenance challenges are expected to become more common. However, this particular disagreement highlights the complex nature of international space cooperation and the critical importance of reaching consensus on safety issues aboard humanity's outpost in orbit. In a remarkable breakthrough in astronomical observation, scientists have successfully peered through one of the most challenging regions of our night sky, known as the Zone-of-avoidance. This region, which lies in the direction of our galaxy's center, has long been a blind spot for astronomers due to thick clouds of dust that block our view of what lies beyond. Using the powerful Meerkat radio telescope array in South Africa, researchers have mapped this hidden region of space with unprecedented detail, specifically focusing on an area containing the mysterious Vela-supercluster. The telescope's ability to detect neutral hydrogen, which is abundant throughout the universe, has revealed the presence of 719 previously unknown galaxies, more than doubling our knowledge of this region. This discovery is particularly significant because the zone of avoidance contains what astronomers call the Great-attractor, a massive gravitational anomaly that's pulling our Milky Way and other nearby galaxies toward it. The newly identified galaxies are part of this enormous structure, helping us better understand this gravitational puzzle that has intrigued astronomers for decades. The success of this survey demonstrates how modern radio astronomy can overcome the limitations that visible light observations face. By detecting radio waves, which can penetrate through the dust that blocks visible light, astronomers are finally beginning to map what lies behind this cosmic veil, promising even more discoveries as observations continue. Finally today, skywatchers are in for a treat this week as the final supermoon of 2024 graces our night sky. The full beaver moon reaches its peak fullness this Friday at 4:28 p.m. Eastern Time, though it will appear gloriously full for about a day before and after this exact moment. This celestial spectacle comes with some fascinating companions. The Pleiades star cluster, often called the Seven Sisters, will be positioned right next to the moon in the constellation Taurus. While the moon's brilliant light might overshadow some of the cluster's fainter stars, it's still a spectacular pairing to observe. The night sky will be particularly active, with 4 planets visible at various times. Venus and Saturn will be readily visible in the early evening, with Venus shining brilliantly in the southwest, while Saturn glows with a subtle yellow hue high in the southern sky. Jupiter will make its appearance a couple of hours after moonrise, dominating the eastern sky, while Mars joins the cosmic dance just before midnight. For those planning to observe this celestial gathering, the moon will be positioned in Taurus, just beneath Aries' curved horns. As the night progresses, the iconic constellation Orion will follow the moon's path up the eastern sky, creating a magnificent backdrop for this final supermoon display of the year. And that's all for today's episode of Astronomy Daily. I'm Anna, and I want to thank you for joining me on this cosmic journey through the latest developments in space and astronomy news. If you'd like to stay connected with everything happening in space, visit us at astronomydaily.io, where you can sign up for our free daily newsletter and access our constantly updating newsfeed. You'll also find all our previous episodes there. Don't forget to follow us on social media. You can find us as Astro Daily Pod on Facebook, X, YouTube, Tumblr, and TikTok. Until next time, keep looking up and wondering about the mysteries of our universe.